Hello, everybody. Welcome back, and very warm welcome to this session and discussion of career in stat data science and machine learning. I'm Srijit Mukherjee. I'm a researcher at Penn State. My research is in machine learning, computer vision, and deep learning. I have, we are together here as a team. One of our eminent team members is Dr. Tanujit Chakraborty. He is not pursuing anything. He's a assistant professor at Sorbonne University. He is a professor in mathematics and statistics. And we have Sourav Nandi. He's building Dezerv, and he's a very eminent team member of that uh, budding startup. So welcome both of you, and welcome all the students and the learners out here who are here for this discussion. And thank you, as Sourav has mentioned, thank you for taking your time out for this discussion, for this meet, and interacting with us. This is how the whole discussion session will proceed. In the first 80% of our time, we'll be discussing on the questions. We'll mostly focusing on the BSc questions, which also have a lot of intersection with the MSc questions. And the last 20% we'll be asking you to send your doubts. Rather, you can also send your doubts while we are discussing the questions out there in the chat box. So let's get started, guys. I'm so excited to have it all with you. Tony, just make sure you can turn on your mic and
yeah, now it's fine.
Very good, guys. Thank you so much again. So let's start with the questions first.
I think we should introduce ourselves first, then we can go for the question.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So maybe Sourav can start with himself. And
yeah. Hi everyone, this is Sourav here. So my journey starts from a very remote part of West Bengal. So I've always been interested in statistics, data, and all these things. I think we live in a great time where you come from any place, you have access to all the resources, and there are people like Tanujit who are sharing all this knowledge for free. So very excited to be part of the session. So my career started in a startup in Bangalore that was in healthcare. Then I moved to finance. I was working as a quant in Morgan Stanley. Currently, I have been working in a portfolio management team, in the investment team, in a startup called Dezerv, and I'm in Mumbai, India. Very excited for the session, and thanks a lot, Tanujit, Srijit, for organizing this, and thanks to all of you for taking time out in a busy Sunday evening and joining with us. Thanks again, and welcome to the session. Yeah, maybe Tanujit.
Yes.
Okay. So, firstly, thank you everyone for joining us. So we decided to do this long back actually. So then the first thing I did, I informed Srijit and Sourav. They eagerly wanted this session as well. Then I think the big part of the job was to collect the questions. I think Sourav and Srijit made some very nice Google Forms, and you guys sent a lot of questions, and we could get a lot of sub-questions out of that. And finally, we have a summary of questions from there, which is even made by Srijit. So yeah, maybe with the help of ChatGPT. Okay. So this is a very big job, and it's done very well. So now let's come to my part. Like I started my maybe up to class 12, whatever you call K-12 or up to class 12. I studied in a remote school which is situated in Shamnagar, West Bengal. Then I moved to Bidhanur Government College for pursuing my bachelor's in statistics. Bidhanur Government College just moved from Calcutta University to West Bengal State University that time. So it was a very big challenge even for the first few batches of students. Then after bachelor's, I have to stop and wait for 1 year to get into ISI. So there was a journey break that time. So for the first time, I couldn't clear ISI exam, but I could clear a few more. But then I joined ISI, and things got changed, and I even started Tanujit classes, some coaching institute that time, to help the people who are preparing for this ISI IIT entrances, which no longer I run. But I tried to create some resources which is freely available online. You can see my website, which has a lot of these informations. Nowadays, Srijit and all other some of my juniors, they run very nice initiatives to help a lot of students preparing for these entrances, which is a big role, which plays a big role in the aspirants' life who are preparing for this type of statistics, mathematics, economics entrances. So then after masters, I completed my PhD from ISI itself. That time when we used to work at ISI, maybe we if we say we are working on machine learning, people didn't like it. So ISI has something like math stat, theoretical mathematics, theoretical statistics belonging. So they used to like you are working on pattern recognition or statistical pattern recognition or statistical learning. Instead of telling machine learning, the catchy word, they used to prefer those terms, even data mining. So, but over the time, now after I finished my PhD, machine learning become more hotter cake. And it was easy for me to grab a job, and I could get a job in Sorbonne University, which has campuses in Paris as well as Abu Dhabi. Now I just returned from NUS Singapore, where I stayed for 1 or 2 months as a visiting faculty. So this is my journey, and I'm really excited to hear your questions. I didn't see those questions, by the way, so no pre-preparation is there. And whatever knowledge we gained so far, up to my 30 years of life, as well as 10 years of academics life, in that sense, 10 or 13, I should say, 10, 12, 13. So from BSc to up to date. So I joined BSc in 2010. So it's 13 years of journey. Maybe Srijit and Sourav has their own journey to say. So we'll answer from our own behalf. Maybe in between, we'll give some space for you to ask your questions, and you can do it in chat. Okay. And now it's over to Srijit. I already took a lot of time. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, it's like Tanujit is an inspiration to many, as I have shared and Saurabh has shared. So he has been an inspiring person in my life. Without him, I couldn't have probably come to Penn State for my PhD. He has guided me a lot. My journey starts as a B-Stat student at ISI. I loved mathematics and I didn't like statistics. Then I started liking statistics after coming to ISI. Even at B-Stat third year, I thought I will be going to MMath, but I was not really that passionate about statistics initially. I really loved mathematics and wanted to pursue it. I had then a financial requirement at my home, so I stayed at ISI according, after taking suggestions from Amorto sir, who was an algebraist, and Dr. Nina Gupta is his student. Then I stayed, and then students started asking me doubts about statistics, and from there I started Chinta School of Statistics and Data Science and a vertical for statistics, which helps students prepare for IIT JAM MSI, CMI MSc Data Science. And after my masters, due to some emergency, I didn't have too much of score in the first year of masters. That was not good enough for applying to research abroad. So I took 1 year drop, and it absolutely changed my mindset, because during that time I worked on research internships as well as working on my entrepreneurship journey in Chinta, and it was a totally different learning experience that I never learned before. And in that 1 year, I helped Chinta grow. I learned myself, did research, and also got the chance to study, come to study abroad. So, and then it's like I'm doing my research. I'm very happy doing my research, and I am hoping to get to be a professor like Tanujit someday. So thank you, Tanujit. Thank you, Saurabh, for joining. I will be starting and scrolling through the questions one by one, and I will be and Tanujit and Saurabh can take turns to decide who will answer. And if I think one question is for me, then I will answer it. Okay. So it's like we will answer only one question at a time, one person, one to one. And student can ask their questions in the chat box. Thank you again for all of you for joining. And let's start. I'm so excited for it. Okay, the first question, as you can see, is ask, can you suggest an online DSML course that is recognized with good learning materials? I think Tanujit is the best person to talk about this because he's a professor right now.
So nowadays there are multiple resources, right? Yeah, even Coursera, Udemy, they have a lot of courses. So even YouTube, in YouTube, if you go to search for MIT courses, MIT OCW courses, Stanford online courses, Harvard, they have online courses. All these universities, whatever courses they teach on board particularly, they have their online versions which are uploaded out there. If you are asking for those type of materials, yeah, it's there already in YouTube. You can do it for free. If you want to get a certificate, maybe Coursera or Udemy or some data websites which are there, which offers such courses. Even nowadays, there are a lot of Indian places which are offering a lot of online courses. Maybe IIT Madras is a good example. And under Coursera, even there are options to study bachelor's and master's in data science or ML, which may take some amount of money to invest, but it is offered by faculties from, let's say, Michigan State University, so one course, or University of Michigan, I believe. Yeah. Then there is one course by UCL in course with Coursera. BITS Pilani has a course with Coursera. So like there are a lot of merged courses. Even Scalar has a course with particularly with BITS Pilani. So there are a lot of options. So it's up to you what you want to do. Do you really want a bachelor's degree or master's degree, which will be done online DSML? Then there are few options for sure, which are good, really good. Okay, and which is very close to the actual courses. Okay, that it is only offered online. That's the thing. Okay, and you will have to give the exams and everything. That is there, which are in terms of bachelor's and master's degree. You can visit Coursera, and some of the courses are already listed there. Even other places are also there. If you want to do just for learning, then go to YouTube and search for Stanford or all these big universities. They have their own courses. Even if you want to see, Sorbonne has some courses, online courses as well. So like that, there are a lot of courses. And if you want to just get a short-term certificate, maybe Udemy and all these small circles which offers a lot of data science courses, you can grab those courses. Yeah, in most of the places, the courses are really good.
Great.
Great. And just to add, to add to
please.
that, so in Coursera also, there are some options like financial aid in Coursera edX. So even if you want to get the certificate, you don't have the financial resources, there are options where you can pursue for free after filling some applications. So these kind of options are also there. Please explore them. Yeah, thanks.
Yes, from my personal experience, I think a good planning is important for this, and therefore a good course with a good planning is like something you should look for, which is not present on YouTube. So therefore, I would suggest some online Coursera or edX only. Okay, so next question. Let's go to the next question. How much statistics should one be familiar with to pursue a career in the finance domain, especially in the derivatives market, and what are the required skills for a career in this field? I think there's no one better than Sourav in this regard to answer.
Yeah. So first of all, you have to be very clear with the basics. So like basic statistics, let's say a regression, some basic multivariate analysis, time series analysis. Those are the basics that are there. Then obviously nowadays with the advent of machine learning, deep learning, some basic understanding of those really help. Now coming specifically to finance, let's say fields like finance and healthcare, they have, so let's say some fields like finance are dynamic, they're changing very fast. So there are some core skills, statistical skills that are there, but some things like interpretability are very important. You have to actually understand whatever models you are building. If you build some black box model, they can go really wrong. So that kind of mindset is very important. Whatever you are learning, try to understand the basics, try to understand the fundamental assumptions, how they can go wrong. And obviously they won't apply exactly in the real world. So you have to play with the real world data, understand how the assumptions will go wrong and what would you do about them. Things like that. Now coming to the derivatives market and other skills for a career in finance. Now, obviously, it helps to have a basic understanding of the overall asset classes, what a derivative is. Let's say if you want to do option trading or let's say something with the futures, you have to understand what they are and how the different algorithms can actually interact here. That is one. Second is who are the players in the market, like which firms are doing what type of trading, what type of investing, and what type of, let's say, algorithms, what type of methodologies they are actually using. So those kind of things are helpful. Sometimes people do CFA or FRM or this kind of similar courses. Those are definitely helpful. But you can also enter without having too much understanding of finance. So either you do a master's, some MS or this kind of courses, or you go through some off-campus internships and those pathways. So depending on the pathway, the exact skill set required will be varying, but the overall basics of the financial markets, what exactly are the asset classes, what exactly are the methodologies, that will be helpful. But again, to summarize, start with the basics, have the fundamentals very solid. The newest things like, let's say, ChatGPT and all these things are coming into play. But try to understand what is the algorithm behind it, what is the, let's say, core philosophy behind it. Finally, there are some things like Bloomberg or Morningstar, from where we pull the data, we interact with the data. Let's say if you're building some projects, there are things like Yahoo Finance, where you can pull the data in a automated manner. So play around with them, have some experience with that, do some projects. That should be helpful. Yeah.
Great. Do you suggest any books or resources on Sourav?
So let's say, for example, if you talk about derivatives, John C. Hull, a great book is there. Similarly, if you want to go into, let's say, investing, things like Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, all the Berkshire Hathaway annual letters are freely available on the website. And other, let's say, legendary people, like, let's say, if you want to go to trading or if you want to go to investing, there are, so most of the investors, value investors, or even traders, they have actually shared their knowledge through books. Even in the Indian context, there are people like Mr. Parag Parikh, who is the sole founder of the PP First Fund, or let's say recently you must have heard of people like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So try to understand what different people have shared. I would recommend that understanding which data from people, from YouTube videos or resources, trying out a little bit some of the projects with some data sets, that is more helpful than just going through the books. But definitely the fundamental textbooks that are there, that they should be helpful. Yeah, so that's a
Great, absolutely. A very good suggestion. I think every student can get in touch with Sourav. Sourav can make a post on this question on LinkedIn, and you can absolutely get some.
I think we
more.
can share the resources afterwards, after the session, whatever.
Absolutely. I think that's a very good idea, Sourav.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go to the next question. What skill should I develop to enhance my knowledge of statistics, and how can I do it? Should I start with Python or R as a beginner? Tanujit?
Maybe Srijit can directly answer this question, but
Yeah,
just
that's right.
one thing I'll just tell. So the choosing the language like Python or R, it hardly matters. Honestly, the knowing the algorithm, the flow of the algorithm, that's all matter. Okay, so when we learned all those linear regression, we didn't learn how to do it in R or Python. We should learn how to formulate the problem, how to do the optimization, how to get the values of the parameters in the mathematical form, and that's what we write in codes, right? So R or Python, you choose one of them, but preferably in machine learning community, they more preferred in Python, I should say. R is whereas a little more preferred for the statistics community or even economics community, they prefer R over Python. But computer science and machine learning community, they have kind of more love for Python than R. And what skill should I develop to enhance my knowledge of statistics? Yeah, so my suggestion will be learn both. Okay, so you grab a book, let's say Python Machine Learning by Sebastian Raska, and maybe R for data science book is I forgot the name of the author, sorry. So R for data science is a book which is also available. I give the link in my website, so which is also available for learning your R journey, starting your R journey with statistics. Okay, so these two things you can follow for sure. Now I think Srijit can add more into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. The first statement, what Tanujit answered, that they are not nowhere related to each other. Uh, First, you should learn statistics and then go on to do coding. But however, I have a suggestion that I use for teaching myself, is that I use pseudocodes. Pseudocodes, let's say every algorithm has a corresponding pseudocode, And a very good example is checking out the books by ISLR, ISLR, ESLR. They have specifically written pseudocodes out there. So if you want to use that knowledge and transform into pseudocodes, that will give you a very specific understanding, not about just just understanding the algorithm, but how the algorithm is really working in computation. So that is one of my suggestions, personal suggestions, and I think it works like wonders for a student. Yeah, perfect. So let's go to the next question. I hope it answered your doubt. If you have any doubts, students out here, please share the doubts in the chat box so that we can keep an eye on it. Okay, so the next question is, how can you incorporate machine learning and programming language as a data analysis role effectively? I think Sourav, since he is in the industry, I think he can guide on this aspect.
So the main difference with doing an academic project and then coming to industry is that, so in the academic project, the idea is to find, to actually understand the algorithm and to actually go deeper. But in industry, often the actual goal is to solve the problem you have in hand. Sometimes we try to use very complicated, very sophisticated algorithms, but sometimes the target that you have in the industry might be different. So to answer the question, don't start thinking from an algorithm perspective, but start thinking of the problem. Sometimes you might not need a very, let's say, machine learning or statistical algorithm. It might be being dealt with some, let's say, logical-based structure or some very simple methodology. So think of that, first of all. Secondly, continuation to that is sometimes, let's say we are doing variable selection. Some variables are not statistically significant. From methodology perspective, they are not proving to be very useful. But from a business perspective, from an understanding perspective, they might be very relevant. So here the major suggestion will be to start building domain knowledge, talk to people who have been in that industry for some time. Sometimes, and obviously there will be a lot of subjectivity in terms of the domain. For example, if you are building some engineering systems, R square of 90% might be low. If you are in psychology or in finance, in some cases, the R square of 30% might be high. So that kind of subjectivity is always there. Try to understand what the actual context is. That is the main suggestion. And just to add to all of this, always think from a problem perspective. What is the thing that I have to develop? Don't try to mold it into some particular algorithm, but rather think of, so let's say you have an algorithm in mind, but it might have to be tweaked. So always think of those things. What kind of assumptions won't actually be valid in the real world, and how can you actually compensate for that?
Yeah. I think just to add, doing the work of pseudocodes always helps, in applying this, because I have learned it the hard way, and I came here for research, and I see all people write pseudocodes first, and then they go on to work on the writing the actual code. So I am learning it still. So I think that's a very good academic way to learn it. Okay, the next question. Thank you, Saurabh. What are the skills required for jobs in the data science industry? Saurabh, I think it's a continuation of the the previous question. I think you can just add it.
I think Tanujit also has a lot of great experience because he continuously does basically consulting with many great firms.
Yeah, I think yeah,
absolutely. But just from 2 cents from my end is, see, you are obviously learning statistics, learning machine learning, data science. But when you want to come in the industry, it's a collaborative game. So you have to understand what are the soft skills. So for example, let's say a team structure is there. Industry, a company is a big machine. Where do you actually fit in that whole structure? You have to understand that. Then you have to collaborate with other people. Let's say there is already some existing code base. Even if you think some part of that is not optimized, but it might have some use cases. So before making assumptions, you have to always communicate with people. And let's say if you have some ideas in mind, you want to implement them, you have to communicate their use case, their value add to the leadership team. So that is a big part of industry life, making sense of things, interpretability, and communication. That is one. And the final thing is you have to keep the end user in mind. The user doesn't care about very sophisticated algorithms or let's say very statistically sound methodologies. They care about solving their problems. So try to have that understanding in mind, how it would impact the end user of a product or service that you are developing. So yeah, these are some of that. But Tanujit, please.
Yes, please go ahead, Tanujit.
So I would share one of my experience, right? I so far I have worked with 3 to 4 companies for building their some of the products or for some of their data science project. In particular, during my master's second year, I went for a internship at ITC, Imperial Tobacco Company or Indian Tobacco Company, which makes a lot of papers. So when I first went there, I saw a big paper machine. And I asked, what is the problem? They said in some of the papers, just like you are using a lot of these notebooks, right, produced by ITC, there are some dots coming. How to solve it? I said, like, are you kidding me? So is it my problem to solve how the dots are coming? They said, yes. I said, how can I do that? Like, I'm not an engineer. I don't have any idea about how paper is built. Then they said, okay, go and talk to the people how paper is manufactured. There is somewhere where the process, the whole machine is failing. You have to capture, because we collect data from each and every aspect. So you have to go and talk to them. You have to know how the paper is processed in every step, and every step what are the data they collect. So this is how I went there. I first met with some chemical engineer. I met with a lot of mechanical engineer who have been handling those machines. Those are called paper machines. That's a big machine, huge machine with a lot of components. Then I learned from there over 3 to 4 months. I just learned how the paper machine works. Then from each and every place, what are the data they are collecting. And finally, I should tell that we could solve that problem, and that problem even got published as a paper later on. And we really could help them to gain almost more than 1 crore profit every month with this particular problem, because if there is one dot in one classmate paper, they'll just throw that paper. Those are not classmate paper, by the way. Those are actually the cigarette papers, special quality papers. So this is the, like I'm telling, like what Sourav said, right? It's not only the knowledge of data science or not only the knowledge of statistics. You have to be collaborative in mind. You have to be like kind of accepting the other disciplines as well, because statistics or data science as a field, it doesn't have much problem of its own. It has problem that is coming from other fields which we are trying to solve. We are kind of the like helpers, okay, for the all the science. So it's like a salt science. If you put salt, the food gets tasty, right? So just like that, you would get all these knowledges. Even if you are working, I worked with Bajaj FinServ. There you have to know the knowledge of basic knowledge of how the finance company works. What are the finance terms you need to know. Now last time I was working with a pharma company, which we are trying to make a forecast software for the pharma company. We have to know what are the different products, pharmaceutical cells, how it works, right? So this is how you have to broaden your knowledge. Among the data science perspective, you have to know basic statistics along with very good knowledge about regression modeling. Along with that, another side of the knowledge is classification algorithms, or let's say categorical data analysis, which you can like make it upgraded to the machine learning knowledge. And then you have to know a bit of time series forecasting as well as some financial modeling techniques. Okay, these are the few things I think is mandatory to be there. Okay.
Thank you, Tonita, for the beautiful story. I heard this story once back when I was with him at ISI. So I didn't know the details of it, but he talked about, I think you talked about how you modeled it with random variables, as far as I remember. Yeah. So, yep. Let's go to the next question. As a complete new buy, how can I enhance my skills for DSML roles and make myself job ready? Where should I start an incoming master's student in mathematics or allied fields? I think the first question we have already answered. There's nothing more to add, I guess. What do you agree, Sourav and Tanujit?
Yeah.
What do you think about the second question? Where should a student start as an incoming master student in mathematics or allied field? Because I remember Tanujit giving me a lot of suggestions about this. Like,
Tanujit is the right person to answer. Yeah.
yes.
So there are few options, right? To make yourself job ready means what kind of job you are looking first, right? So one is the government jobs, another is the private jobs, another is the research oriented jobs. So if you are unsure about getting into research, so I suggest always to go for some job. You learn there what are the skills is required. You feel yourself comfortable there. Then if you feel like it's not for you, you move to the research sector, right? So mostly how people look for internship maybe. So if you are inclined towards research, the first idea you should do during your masters, write to some professors and do a research internship, which is not difficult. In India, there are a lot of IITs, ISI, and a lot of foreign universities also, where you can maybe you will be at the beginning will be very much non-accustomed with the foreign faculties, but at least with the Indian faculty, Indian people who are foreign faculties, you can also write to them and ask like whether they have an internship online or offline with them, even in the India within the India itself. So once you get feedback, you would be, if you work with them, you will get an idea how PhD, how research career will look like. Now, if you have to work in industry, maybe you can contract with some of the, at least there are a lot of websites in which you can register. You can send your CV to your seniors who are working. You can share your resume in LinkedIn and other places also. So at least get started. Don't look for the best optimal solution. Optimal solution will never be found. So the thing that you are getting, grab that opportunity and learn from there, right? Even in many of the organizations where you will get very less paid, but you will learn a lot. Okay. So, and as a mathematics or allied field student, there are a few people who are inclined towards job, maybe the government jobs. Then you have to be very careful. Like you have to sit very well and prepare yourself well for Indian Statistical Service or RBI or all these government exams, GATE exams or all these other exams. Prepare well, and if you prepare well, if you are focusing on only one part of the game, then you will be having more chances, right? So these are my few experiences. Maybe I could explain a lot, but I think Saurav and Srijit can add more up to here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I have no knowledge about industry, how to be ready for that. Saurav has the most amount of knowledge. Um,
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I think Ronita covered the most important point. But just to add, so don't reject yourself. Sometimes you might think that I'm coming from mathematics, I have not studied machine learning, or this is not in the curriculum. Then can I go for a data science job? And these kind of doubts are in your mind. But nowadays, all the resources are available online. Even Tanujit, Srijit, they're sharing a lot of free resources for quite some time. So the resources are there. Just go through them and put in the effort. And don't think that I cannot do this, or this is not for me. So, but at the same time, have a realistic understanding of yourself. See how much effort is needed, and are you actually able to do that? Sometimes we just start fighting for the ekdam highest ka thing, or let's say the most prestigious thing. Don't go for that. Try to understand your own personality. And even in terms of the jobs also, sometimes we just go for most prestigious jobs, but the ground reality is often different. So talk to people who are in the jobs through LinkedIn, through Facebook, or other, let's say, places, even Quora, or I think Tanujit has written more than thousands of answers on Quora, and so other sites like Reddit. So have some practical understanding, and then go outside of the textbooks. Start experimenting with data. Start doing projects, as Tanujit mentioned, either research projects or even internships. Sometimes you may think that I'm applying through internships, I'm not getting any call. What should I do? So sometimes there are many startups who are looking for actual experienced people who will come and do some analysis with them. Always think from their perspective, how you can help the company, the firm. Approach people through LinkedIn, through other resources, and start building real world experiences. Even if you're not getting some formal opportunity, you can also go and help an NGO maybe with some data science initiative. Maybe start something on your own, do some freelancing work. There are lots of opportunities available. Try to start building real life experiences, start getting your hands dirty. That's the session.
yeah, absolutely. This is like, I mean, the ensemble of their suggestions, I think, is the best that I've ever heard. I think it's good time to move to the next question. As we go to the more questions, we'll see the questions, the answers will be similar. Uh, okay, what are the skills necessary for applying for a PhD in statistics? Uh, I'm not a PhD in statistics. Should I answer this? But I got for PhD in statistics.
You
That's
applied, right?
good.
So that's
Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on which background you're from. Because many students have come to me from economics background who want to transfer into PhD in statistics, or mathematics background who want to transfer into PhD in statistics. But it's very easy for BSc students or MSc statistics students to go for PhD in statistics. Now, for the skills necessary, I think statistics is the fundamental skill that you should know for a PhD in statistics. But as Sonujit has mentioned, for getting to the PhD level, I think if you're not, I mean, I don't know whether you're looking for India or no, outside India. If you're looking forward to India, I think you should be focusing on preparing yourself for the entrance examinations. For example, GRF ISI or GATE statistics, via which you can get into IIT Kanpur, all these IITs, or using this GATE statistics, you can also get into the IISc CDS, the Center for Data Science, which is really good. Also, there was one time I was really into all this epidemiology, and because I had a course in that statistical ecology, so I really wanted to do my PhD in that. So I contacted a professor in statistical ecology in IISc, and he told me to get into that apply via GATE. So even if you are planning for applied statistics domains, I think GATE and GRF. I really don't know much about CSI or NATE. Tonida can say a few words about it. What are the opportunities from there? But I am unsure about. I have given GF, GRF, and GATE statistics. I think these are the two important things for getting a PhD program in IS in India. Most like top two. And for getting a PhD abroad, I think the fundamental skills, apart from your course, if you're not from statistics background, apart from your coursework, you should do some research projects, as Tanujit mentioned. And Tanujit often posts about such opportunities online on LinkedIn, and you can grab an opportunity if you're apt for the position. If you're and many other professors do that, so keep an eye on LinkedIn. Many professors are moving to LinkedIn nowadays and sharing their opportunities out there. And apart from that, you have to apply for for prepare for TOEFL, GRE, and apply abroad. I have written quite a few articles on that online, so you can check out that. um, yeah, I think the skills needed are doing some research kind of projects, paper reading or research kind of projects in statistics. If you're from a non-statistics background, you have to actually get, I think a good place to start is getting a master's in statistics. If you're from BSc non-mathematics, non-statistics. If you're MSc non-statistics, I don't really know what is, I do not have any suggestion. I think you can take course from here.
So maybe Srijit has already told a lot of stuff on PhD, in particularly in statistics. I think there's a general question many people has. What are the skills we should need? Given I am already knowing the subject, if you go for PhD in stat or eco or data science or machine learning, everything applies. I'll give the general answer, not restricted to only statistics. So the first thing is, what is PhD? I always say this to a lot of my juniors, even my PhD students, that P stands for patience, E stands for hard work, and D stands for dedication. These are the three things. First thing you need, okay? You need a lot of patience, because your paper will be rejected for sure, unless you are lucky. Hard work is, unless I have seen a lot of highly intelligent students failing during PhD, who did excellent during their bachelor's and masters, because bachelor's and masters are different than PhD. In PhD, you need to really work hard, because those people who are there, everyone has some like up to a level of maturity and knowledge. So whosoever will work hard, they will succeed. So given the fact that bachelor's and master's type, whatever given in the book, other than you are studying to a, let's say in ISI on some of the particular universities, where some particular professors will ask a lot of tricky questions, but other than that, mostly the questions are trivial. You know the question, you know the syllabus very well. There is no syllabus. your area will be maybe only a few people in the world will be working on that area. So you have to be patient, and you have to be putting a lot of hard work, and you have to be dedicated for that. Nobody does PhD for money. Nobody does research for luxury in life. They do it for passion. Okay, so you have to come with that passion. Another thing, for most of the time, Srijit told, there are a lot of intentions to do PhD in India, but what about abroad? They have a separate way to do it. You need your statement of purpose, on which Srijit wrote a lot of posts on LinkedIn. You can follow them. You need to write for GRE and TOEFL, which is a kind of a mandatory for many of the American universities. In Europe, sometimes TOEFL is only required, and depending on the university. And you also need some recommendation letters. So there comes the part where you need to have some research experience. That's why in the last question you told, you have to write to some people who are doing good research in the field in which you are interested as a faculty in some of the places. Work with them, learn from them. They will be recommending you for the PhD program, which will help you to join there. So to get a good recommendation letter, you have to work with someone good. And if you work with someone good, then you will have some, at least some manuscript ready, or at least some publications, or at least some idea about how to conduct research. So which is also very much essential to do a PhD. Other than the fact that if you are doing statistics, you should know statistics. If you are doing economics, you should know the basic knowledge of bachelor's or master's level of knowledge of economics and statistics or physics or whatever you are going to do in PhD. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sonita, for the motivating words about PhD. I think this is enough for me to go to my lab on Sunday today. So, so let's go to the next question. Um, okay, so this is a very core question. I like it. When working with data, how can I understand which machine learning algorithm works best for a particular data set? I think Sourav and then
No, I
Tonit.
think Srijit, you are the right people to.
Tonita, please go ahead.
Yeah. So maybe this is a common questions, right? So machine learning and statistics, I always feel these are like cooking tools. Okay, so finally we have to cook something, right? We have to cook a nice dish. So how do our mothers, fathers, or who is cooking at our home, or if we are a good cook, how do we find out that whether this particular dish is well ready or not? Suppose I'm cooking a chicken, I'll taste it, right? So just like that, how do people get that tasting idea, or the idea of mixing different ingredients with experience? So for experience, what do you need? You need the algorithm first. You need the knowledge first. Okay, if I have to make chicken, I need this ingredients. So this is your knowledge of bachelor's and master's degree. So you will learn all the different small ingredients, their usage, their things, and like that. When you are trying to deploy it in the real world, or you are really making the chicken, so you have to test it every time, right? So let's say if you are working on regression, so every regression model has their assumption. You have to see that after building the model, what are the assumptions that are made, what are the accuracy metric that is getting performed well, what are the data type of problem. So in machine learning, the data type of problem could be text data, image data, video data. Let's say if it is a image data or video data, we have a large sample of data. Maybe that time we'll prefer deep learning based models more over the standard algorithm. Where if we are working with tabular data, maybe tree based model, SVM and all these algorithms works better. Like that's what I'm telling. Like if once you have the knowledge of working with a lot of data, a lot of different type of data, so grab a lot of data sets from Kaggle, UCI, browser, and all other places, Google dataset link. So from there, you take those data, work with those data, and see what other people are doing with this data. Then you will grab that knowledge. It's not a one-liner answer. So if you give me the data, even I can visualize the data. So visualization is a broader aspects of doing training any machine learning model or statistical models. So you need to visualize the problem at your hand. So when there is a business problem at our hand, we first have to formulate the problem as a statistical or machine learning model problem. Then we solve the problem and then give the business solution. Finally, you have to give the business solution, right, for the company. So for that, you need the whole idea. This is what we call DMAIC, DMAIC. Define the problem, measure the problem, then make the inference, analyze the problem, then improve the problem, like over the time you keep on improving your model, and then finally control the stuff. Maybe once that is deployed, you see how it is really working well or not, then controlling over the period of time. So this is a common philosophy in Six Sigma methodology. So this is what we do even in machine learning idea as well. We see the problem, we try to visualize it, we try to quantify it in our own way, then try to deploy stuff given the characteristic of the data. Let's say if I am working with, let's say, time series data. If the data is non-linear, should I be applying a linear model? No. If the data is non-stationary, do I apply directly all the models to that? Because many of the models assume stationarity. So I'll make the data stationary, then I'll apply. So just like that, if the data is seasonal, I'll apply some seasonal models. Like that, this is how, based on the characteristic of the data, we design different type of thing, which is more fundamental to that. If the data is imbalanced in nature, the classification, the value of the Y values, they are like not evenly distributed. One class is having 90% of the classes is putting into one class, and another 10% of the data is put into another class. Then we need some imbalanced data oriented algorithm or some sampling algorithm strategies to be applied to that. This is how the knowledge is not a discrete one, which you will be having in mind always. Okay, if I see this data, I'll remember that. That's why the field is more interesting to all of us. Otherwise, it will be static, right? If given a question, you have the answer, then even ChatGPT could solve it, right? Easily. But given we need those experiences, real experiences.
Absolutely.
Now, Srijit, yeah.
No, I mean,
After
the best part about Tanujit's answers, and even if you meet him in his personally, you will see always try to explain with stories and his experience, which absolutely enchants me. And thank you, Tanujit, for it's always happens if you observe him carefully. So thank you, Tanujit. I will like to add a few things. If you, I mean, there's a very, I mean, apart from the artistic point of view that Tanujit has mentioned, the non-artistic and the scientific way that I think everyone knows is about the cross validation and model selection, all these things. After you know that, okay, these are the models you want to do. So I will not say anything more about it. What I will do is that I will suggest a very good paper by Sebastian Raschka. He has written a beautiful paper. Absolutely, like, it makes everything crystal clear. Model selection, model evaluation, and algorithm selection. So I think you should be I have shared that on on LinkedIn, but you can just find it out online. It's a beautiful one. Like, that's what I have learned it from, and you should read that, and you should understand what's the thing behind how to select a model. And I think that's a way to do it, the scientific way to when you have a set of models selected already after going through the filter of the suggestions of Tanujit. Anything more you want to add, Sourav, Tanujit?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Tanujit has explained really well, and lots of edge cases he has already covered. Always, as you mentioned, Srijit, always great to hear from him. Just a very small thing. You also have to understand the context why it is being used. So, for example, in some context, your target might be to have the most accuracy. In some other context, your target might be to have more interpretability. So, let's say like a healthcare, like a financial system, which is very fragile. Things can go wrong very quickly. Their interpretability becomes very more important. But let's say on an engineering system, you might be want to have the most accurate kind of solution. So those kind of aspects are also very important. What do you actually want at the end of the day? What are the trade-offs?
Yeah, absolutely. A valuable point to be added to the list. Okay, can we move on to the next question?
Yeah, and if we, as there are lots of questions, if we find some similar question, we can directly skip to the next one.
Yeah, that's what we will do. I think the initial part is like, we will see in the later part, all the questions are mapping to the initial, union of the answers that we have given. So
true, absolutely.
So 9th question: what steps should I follow to become a machine learning engineer, considering my undergraduate level statistics knowledge and proficiency are? I really don't know much about it. Machine learning engineer. I think Sourav and Tanujit know a lot about it, surely, or to give you some views.
So one thing is, I think maybe I'll just add one thing, then Saurabh can take it. If you still machine learning engineer in particular, so you need a lot of knowledge about data engineering part, which is not taught in mostly in any undergraduate level of statistics. So I think the first thing you need to do a master's, preferably a master's in data science or something in machine learning. Nowadays, there are a lot of AI universities around the world. Maybe Muhammad bin Zayed University of Artificial Intelligence is an example, where they offer exactly machine learning master's degree or master's degree in NLP, natural language processing, like that. Even now, I could see a lot of Coursera courses. There is a master's in machine learning by, I think, UCL. So there they have the core computer science statistics courses, as well as lot of machine learning, deep learning, along with the data engineering courses. So you have to know a lot of data engineering stuff as well, because you won't be only hitting the model. You have to also work on the data level as well. So data level work is more better way to deal with that, because when just like the example of cooking, if the chicken is not so being a non-vegetarian, I'm telling. So if the chicken what I bought is not good enough, if the data is not good enough, my cooking, whatever even masalas I put out there, it doesn't matter, right? The chicken curry will not be good, right? So no harm for the vegetarians. Sorry. So this is how, like, even Sourav can put more insights to it.
Yeah, absolutely. To add to Tanujit's point, data engineering is the most important part if you want to go to a data engineer or machine learning engineer kind of role. And here some of the specific things, like let's say the ETL process, extract, transform, load, which are actually used in industry. You have to understand that there are softwares which are used for that. But the basic point is that data won't be in a simple singular database. It might be across different databases, across different sources. The structures won't be similar. So you have to understand things like SQL, NoSQL, and how they actually come together. And then the other point is that, so I'll give an example. So let's say in my internship in Ford, Chennai, there we were actually pulling data sets from, sometimes from, let's say, different factories. Sometimes there are some centralized databases. Sometimes it's just someone is manually inputting something. So you have to have some ground level understanding of where the data sets can go wrong, the quality of data can degrade, and how can you build checks and cross-checking mechanisms to actually make sure data is correct. Similarly, here in my current job, we are using softwares like, let's say, Bloomberg, Morningstar, SMF, different softwares like that. So any variable, any model you build, some of the variables are coming from software A versus software B. Many of the data points will be missing. Some of them may not be very accurate. You have to build the process. You have to think what kind of tests you can build to understand if the data is wrong. And if it is wrong, what should you do? Should you remove the whole data point? Should you try to impute? What is the right way to go about it? And then obviously, so the whole pipeline, starting from data collection to actually deploying the systems, you have to have an understanding of that. So as Tanujit mentioned, it's good to have a specialized discipline, probably a master's or something, some course like that. If not, at least try to have some real world experience, like an internship around these fields.
Great. Should I move on to the next question?
Yeah.
How can I prepare for competitive exams for MSc without coaching? How can I check my solutions to questions are correct or not?
I think Srijit is the best person to answer this question. Now, at least, he is having a lot of experience here nowadays.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think every person can prepare without coaching. Coaching is absolutely not necessary, and probably that is more required if you do not do coaching, because if you have a lot of, you can get a lot of time to prepare yourself. But understand, for preparation you need a good two things to masala, in terms of the words. One is a planning of what you should do. What are the plannings? Like, you should have a weekly goal of what you should do, and you should make that yourself. And you should have a feedback mechanism or measuring progress that can tell you that, okay, you're progressing and doing things correctly, like quizzes, if you can do back end book exercises. So if you're preparing alone, self-preparing, I think books and doing the books back-end examining, problems, and the past year solutions, past year questions of whatever exam you're giving, doing this trio, I think you can do it. But you need to have a constant, mechanism of, need to have a lot of zeal to do it yourself. Okay, because nowadays people are very distracted. I can see they always want some help and guidance. If you have a strong mentality, you will be able to do it, and I think it's appreciable if you can dedicate that time to yourself and prepare it yourself. Now, how can you check your solutions if it's correct or not? That is not possible without a human being. One thing you can do is that you can do an example problem of a book and do this problem solution and check it with the example problem, or whoever problem solution in backend solutions are given, you can check online. If you are doing new problems whose solutions are not available, you need a human being to be in touch with, and you need to have a person to be in touch with. Yeah, that's my question.
So
Anything?
just to add to that, so I think two things here. Have a positive mindset. Sometimes, obviously, there will be many constraints, but financial constraint, let's say less access to resources and all these things, right? You might have some other responsibilities, but have a positive mindset. And as Srijit and Tanujit already mentioned, life doesn't move in a linear manner. You do something good, there's something, let's say some setbacks happen, but it goes on. So I think constant is actually helpful. They create some structure in life. That is one. And then a specific answer to the second part. So as Srijit mentioned, try the example problems. Like, don't just see the solutions, try it yourself. Try it in a couple of minutes. If you're not able to solve it, don't just jump into the solution. Give yourself some time, think of other ways. That is the most important part. Even if your solution is not right, the approach, the way you are approaching, once you keep trying with a different ways, you'll have some understanding. And sometimes you might even find some better way than solving than what is given, right? So that is one. The second thing is, many of the answers are given online. For example, books like Shedlon Ross, Kessler Berger, all the exercise solutions, there are solution materials to this. So fine for that, try Google and other browsers to find these things. And finally, even if you don't have the exact solutions, don't give up. Try different methods. Try, let's say, similar other exams. As Srijit mentioned, sometimes solutions are available online. I remember when I was preparing for IIT JAM, there was a booklet. They had answers, but the answers were not always correct. But that doesn't matter. Once you try the problems, you should build that kind of confidence yourself. This is the correct answer. Or sometimes I'm not sure how to solve that. So that kind of fighting, that is the thing that you have to do. And going to the right solution doesn't matter, because anyway, you are probably not going to get exactly common questions in the exam.
One more thing I would like to add here. So during my preparation after my bachelor's, so for ISI, I found Math Tech Exchange and Math Overflow, this website where you can pose your question, and some people who might be interested to answer those questions, just like Brilliant is one example. This kind of website, Math Tech Exchange and Math Overflow and Brilliant, these are the few examples. There are, I think, a lot more websites where you can post your questions and check your solutions whether they are correct. Finally, like what Srijit said, like, you need someone to help you out, whether it's correct or not, or to clear some of your doubts. Maybe that's why, even if you don't need a coach, but you need a teacher or a philosopher and guide who will be helping you to plan your stuff, right? When you will be planning your stuff. So what are the books you will read? What are the timing you will be putting on each and every topic? What are the, when do you solve the past year questions and all these things? So even sometimes it needs not to be a paid teacher, but also maybe some of your seniors, some people from, if you're peeping in particularly for ISIIT, some seniors from ISIIT, if they can help you, that will work, I think. But there are a lot of now, in particularly in Srijit's Chinta Ganit Kendra website, there are a lot of solutions available of the past years, and they have a lot of discussions available. So once you do your solutions, you can check with that. Even in my website, I think there is some books which I have written, but there are might be some typos, or terminology will be correct, so you can check with those answers as well. So these are the few ways. So once you have your solution, not every particular problem you can get it out there, but at least when solving the previous paper, maybe if you see the solution is available on Chinta Ganit Kendra, don't look at the solutions, do it on your own. Think about the problem. Thinking ability is the most important thing. Then you can cross verify it with that. Okay, and even you can post your problem in those websites. And ask someone to help you with that. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I just
different.
forgot. Yeah, sorry,
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry, sorry. Yeah. So I was saying that different sites, like let's say some Facebook groups, some Telegram groups, those kind of platforms are also available to continue Tonita's point. Even Coda, I think Tonita himself has answered thousands of questions there. So these kind of platforms are there, Coda, Reddit, and then Facebook group, Telegram group, WhatsApp group. Try to find out about them, and your own peers also, your teachers, your professors. Try to approach them and talk to them, and don't be shy. That will also help.
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly due to this reason, we have, like in Chenta, we have some free groups where students can discuss. You don't have to join that. Their students really discuss well. But what I mean is that you can form your own study groups, small study groups that you can be accountable to. And I think group study is the only thing that is very important. That collaboration is very important mindset, doing together and winning together. And that is very, very important. And you should form your own group. Even if you can individually peer check your answers. I think that's the best, one of the best possible ways to learn and to find mistakes out there. I think that's the best. I should say that's the best if you do not find any teacher or do not have the resources to do so. So I think any other things to add, points to add, or I will move on to the next question. Okay.
Just no idea.
How can I improve my mathematical skills in areas like real analysis and linear algebra? Tonujit is teaching real analysis. I think he should answer that.
No, I'm not. I taught in one semester, so only. So mathematics in general needs a lot of other than just doing it. You need a lot of intuition, right? So maybe try to visualize stuff. Okay, there are lots of books which help you to visualize analysis or algebra. Maybe there is a very nice book written on linear algebra by uh,
Gilbert Strand.
S. Kumareshan, right?
Oh.
Kumareshan wrote a very nice book,
Yeah.
Indian edition book, okay, which really tries to give you a lot of geometry of these things. So once you know the geometry, it becomes more easier, I think. And maybe not only by doing it, but visualizing it is one of the way. Another is I found out while teaching real analysis, most of the people, they just think it as a formula, like, okay, this converges because of this rule, I remember this rule. But maybe in reality, when solving some high level problems, uh, you need to kind of have those intuition coming in your mind. Okay, so this mode of looks like something, the integral I have seen, which maybe look familiar to me as a beta integral or gamma integral, like that. A lot of things come as an intuition in your mind. Maybe Srijit has some more stuffs to add out here. While teaching, he faced a lot of things like.
Yeah, I think the point that you have to visualize is very important. And the good books are Kumareshan books. I didn't read it, but I am sure since someone has mentioned, it's really good. What I follow and I ask my students to follow is that for real analysis, follow Stephen Abbott. Stephen Abbott, Understanding Real Analysis, is one of the best book because it's like I went to I was very, because in ISI it was taught from Walter Rudin, and if you have learned from Walter Rudin, you know that how hard it is to learn from Walter Rudin. So I was looking for some intuition, like how the real numbers came up and like the stories to build that. And I spent an entire day in ISI library finding, there's a stack of real analysis books, okay? And I found this one book called Stephen Abbott, which really matched my style. And I've been teaching it from that book for 2-3 years. I think it's really fabulous. It has a story of how, and from natural numbers, rational number and negative numbers came from negative numbers. It feels like rational numbers came from rational numbers to put in the gaps. The completers axioms complete the real numbers. So this story is told there, and it's very good book. You can check out that book of Understanding Real Analysis by Stephen Abbott. And for linear algebra, I learned everything in the geometry of that from Gilbert Strand, and his last lecture was there on YouTube. So I was very emotional about that. So he has a very good idea of how the orthogonal spaces out there, the null space, row space, other two, like the transpose of that null space, row space. So this is very something that is very Gilbert Strangish kind of view how to teach that linear algebra. So these are my two favorite books. And for mathematics, I learned something after coming here. Previously, I used to think, just knowing theory is really helpful. But when I came here and did a course on convex optimization, I realized that just knowing theory will not help, and doing problem solving is very important. So learning from a book and doing the problems is very important, and they are orthogonal preparation. They are not equal, they are not same, and not orthogonal but kind of intersection, but they are not same. So you should do problem solving also to understand what techniques are used, because that's where you get the motivation to how it actually works by solving a problem. Yeah, I think I don't need to add anything more. Just read books.
Yeah,
Yes.
just a small addition. It always helps to have passionate teachers. For example, I remember our professor, Professor Srijit Mukherjee, PSM sir. He used to, just by attending his class, I was like just blown away. As Srijit mentioned, when Srijit mentioned Gilbert Strang, actually I remembered his YouTube videos, or I think edX में था probably. So if you don't, if you're not able to understand from a very tough book or something, just go watch some YouTube videos, or if you have access to some professors, go audit their classes. That actually gives you a positive push, positive motivation. That's my 2 cents.
Absolutely.
So maybe in the meantime, Srijit can add the name of these books which he mentioned. 2 books, one Gilbert
Yeah,
Strang
so
and
I will go
another.
next question, and I
So,
will.
just in the message, so that
Yeah,
they
in
have
the
this
chat.
message written. Okay, in the chat.
So maybe
Maybe
move to the next question.
next
We will
question.
read the.
Yeah. How can I enhance my problem solving skills?
I think we have discussed all these things already, right? So
Yes,
maybe
yes.
if you want to add something, you can just put. Otherwise, we can move.
Yeah,
Just
let's
to add, to
move.
enhance your problem solving skills, you can read this book by solving problems, or by George Polya, which is a great book on various problem solving strategies in mathematics, but you can apply that in any scenario, like simplifying a problem to an easier problem to solve it. An example. So this George Polya book is really good, something that can help you out. Next question. What skills you are needed as a statistician to work in the corporate world and have a better job opportunities? I think we have discussed this, right?
Yeah, let's move ahead.
Let's not go more into that.
Hmm.
Which skills are more important in the field of data science? Can you provide detailed explanation of the skills? Anything more to add?
Done.
Sure of that? I think we
Yeah,
have
no,
discussed.
let's move ahead. Yeah.
Which programming languages are used for statistics? I think R. Yeah. You need the
Yeah,
R.
R, Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MATLAB sometimes.
Okay, the learning thing is done. We will now move on to the BSc career questions. Okay, this is a good question. I think Tonida can answer this best. How can I? Because he knows what's the game to reach to him. So I think no, I'm just.
Uh, no, maybe I'm not the best example to connect only. So there are many like brilliant professors honestly out there. So how can I connect with the professors to pursue research? So there are few things. When you are writing to someone, you have to understand that that person is not sitting alone to answer your mail, right? So your mail should be so beautifully crafted. In particular, it will be handcrafted for that specific person, so that he replies. Otherwise, if you are writing, dear sir, I'm looking for an internship, can I do it under you? Why should I reply? I get all these mails every day, almost 10 mails, 10 such mails, right? What will attract me? Okay, so I read this particular book that you recommended. Suppose I am recommending some books, you read those books, you really liked it, you really read it thoroughly, you practiced it, then you read some of my papers. For every professor, they have a publication website under which there are a lot of papers. If you don't find the papers in that particular paywall or something, there are a lot of other websites to search for those papers. Maybe I can give some link out here. So you search those papers out there and read the professors at least one or few papers which are maybe their highly cited papers, or they have published very recently. Read them and tell what did you like it out there, and what are the kind of things that comes in your mind when you are reading it. Suppose I'm reading one of the paper, let's say by Rob Heinemann, who works relatively like so much on forecasting. I want to approach him. So what should I do? I would search Rob Heinemann's paper. Maybe his one of the latest paper talks about a model called, let's say, ETS based model. So it's some ETS based framework, or let's say a forma model. which I'm not explaining here. Maybe he proposed some model. I'll read that model. I'll figure out, okay, maybe you propose that. My idea will be like, I want to solve this different problem with this similar algorithm, or improving this algorithm for a different set of problems. Or I have something in my mind, okay, I want to do some theoretical proofs for these algorithms. I want to study the asymptotics for this model, or some other inferential behavior, or some other stuffs, or other application. I applied this model on some data, but it didn't work well. I want to really find out where it lacks. So maybe in my project, my choice will be, given this type of data, how to improve your algorithm for this data. This is when a faculty feels like, okay, I'm important for that person. My time is important. He invested his time to read my stuffs and then send me a mail. Okay, this is called very well crafted mail for the person. But it's not possible if you do that for a faculty and he doesn't take you. Then you will feel like, okay, I put so much effort, but it didn't work well. In life, this is what reality is like. Always, whosoever we are approaching, we don't always get their likes or dislikes, right? It's not like people will all on a sudden will be taking you under them. Maybe you have to try twice or thrice with this. Otherwise, what people say, they write a very common mail with their expertise, some particular projects that they have done, and they send the mail to 10 people, and those whosoever who feels that, okay, this is the skill I was looking for in one of my project, they may reply. So there are two ways. One is sending really handcrafted mail for the faculty. There, if you write 3 to 5 or even 1 to 5, you will be successful. But for this type of cases where you all on a sudden writing to a lot of people telling that this is my expertise I have, if you have any project internship in which these skills will be required, I'm happy to collaborate. I'm happy to work with you, work under you, under your team. Then that is one way of doing it. So maybe that time you have to apply to up to 1 to 30, 40 places. Then you can grab one opportunity. Okay, this is what is happening in the research opportunities under the different faculties out here. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to add something that kind of connects everything out there. So I since I have a kind of a small background in entrepreneurship, everyone I think has here, short of the Antonida. So this is what I learned, that everything out there, if you are going to someone higher in position than you, you're essentially selling yourself to that person. And selling, the only technique of selling I personally think is very useful for me, to show that anything you're doing is a win-win situation for both you and that person. And understand, get to the professor, the only thing the professor knows is about his work, and that is his paper. Okay, so you have to make sure that it's a win situation for the professor too. Just like, this sounds very crude, like, sorry Tanujit, but this is like into the minds of how it works. So this is how I use it. And you have to make it win, like, just not like show it, but actually prove it. Okay, that's very important. So this is my philosophy. Okay, can I move on to the
just to add a couple of more hacks. So all the professor similarities are available on the website, but sometimes we just apply to our own department, own subjects. You can also apply to other departments. As Tanujit mentioned, it's not about you, it's about them. How would your thing will fit into their frameworks? So that these two aspects you should keep in mind. Yeah, let's move on through.
Yeah, I think that's a good discussion, Tanujit. Which companies or firms should I apply to for internships in the financial domain of statistics? Is an MBA in finance an important career for financial statistics? I think sure of them.
Yeah. So first of all, you have to understand there are some firms which actually look at the brands, look at some, let's say, MBA you must have from certain institutions. You have to understand that. But at the same time, don't reject yourself. Start applying from different firms. Let's say you have targeted some institute, some particular role that may not be available. Try to have a broad area in mind. And sometimes if you're not getting into the top, let's say, ranked firms, try to go through maybe some startups, maybe some other ways to gain some experience before applying. Obviously, that is one. Second thing is, sometimes some companies actually come only hire, let's say, a McKinsey, BCG, Bain, these kind of firms, let's say for a finance, let's say the top bulge bracket firms like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, they might be looking at the brand names. So you might also pursue a MBA or a master's before going there. Now, is MBA finance important? Obviously, it's important, but is it absolutely crucial? No. You can go through other routes. There are other, let's say, sometimes some hackathons are there. Sometimes some let's say some internship opportunities that are available. So there are many routes. Don't get stuck into ki mujhe, I want to go through this company or this role only. Try to have a broad list in mind. But more importantly, start honing the skill sets. Keep applying. Use all the sites like LinkedIn, Naukri, and even not only. Sometimes maybe you have a professor, through them you can reach out. And even within the MBA course, if you're pursuing, you have to understand what is the ROI. Like if you are spending too much, but then at the end of the day, you're not getting a good network or good placement. So that may not be a good thing for you. And obviously there are other options like pursuing CFA or FRM, or let's say some people, what they do is they start creating content directly in LinkedIn or some other websites. So there are all sorts of ways to get into a firm. You have to understand which one is most preferred to you. But anything you follow, always keep learning, always keep, let's say, brushing up knowledge and improving yourself. And end of the day, there's a lot of luck involved. So don't get stuck into ki, I want to go to this only. Always have options open. Try iterative process. Okay, apply somewhere, try to understand, get some feedback. If it's not working out for you, maybe change the path, maybe change the target. So this kind of being open always helps.
Great. I hope Stonit has nothing to add to it, or do you?
No.
Okay, next question.
So
I will.
what internship?
We will come to the doubts as well as students in the chat box. Before that, let's complete this. What internship opportunities are available for statistics students? I think Tanujit can say something about
So
that.
there are many government sectors. There are a lot of government sectors which hire statistics interns, private sectors, research internships. Sometimes people go for some NGO type of places where they can involve into some data oriented projects. Nowadays, Niti Aayog, they also have a lot of statistical interns. ISRO has a lot of statistical interns and like that. So you have to be looking for what you are looking for, right? Are you looking for some research internships? If then you should contact the different faculties in different departments. Even MBA schools, IIMs, IITs, NIT, every place has a lot of statisticians. Even not only statisticians, there are a lot of ecologists. There are a lot of let's say machine learning professors. There are a lot of computer vision professors. They also work in related areas. And if you are applying to companies, don't look for a specific type of company unless you are so much into it. Look for the general type of thing. Every places they have been hiring people from statistics background. Just like I gave some example, I worked with 3 different companies. ITC is making papers, cigarette papers and all this stuff, whereas Bajaj, it was a finance company. Pharma which is a pharmaceutical company. So everyone has their own problem, but all of them need statisticians. Okay, maybe we can go to the next question unless Sourav and Srijit would like to add something.
Yeah,
maybe,
Sourav, you have something to add?
Yeah, no, let's move on. But I'm just pasting some of the, let's say, programs. But Tonita, I think you mentioned some of the masters in AI and all. Maybe you can reply in the chat if you have
Yes,
any.
yes.
Yeah,
I'll
move on.
yeah.
Great.
Sourav, Tanujit, I have shared a research with you. Can you add that if it's possible? I think we can share that document to the students out there.
Oh, okay.
In WhatsApp.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. The next question: which sector offers better career opportunities, private sector or government sector?
It really depends. Everyone offers their own type of thing, right? So which one is good? Like if I ask you, would you prefer a rose or would you prefer a mango? So it's like comparing to different entities, right? So government sectors has their own type of curriculum. You have to be into the public decision making, public policy making. So there you have to offer a lot of stuffs. If you are in teaching, you have to be responsible for building the next generation people, their knowledge sharing and all these stuffs. And if you are into private or different other industrial sectors, you will be finally the final thing is to help the people. Like whatever services you are providing should enrich the people's life. So everywhere there is opportunities. It depends on what you really want in your life. There is nothing is better, nothing is worse. It depends on what you want to do in your life.
Absolutely, yeah. Just to add to that, go talk to some of the people in the industry. Sometimes from the online something courses or let's say movies, sometimes there is some image that is created which may not be true in the real world. So talk to some actual people who are pursuing that field. You'll find many more nuances, the trade-offs, and always talk about the positives and negatives, because everything is a trade-off. That might help a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, life is not like, I mean, life in law is not like Harvey Specter's in Suits. So, yeah. So, so when will South India provide more opportunities in machine learning and research beyond a few startup in Bangalore? Uh, we don't know. I think that should be the answer.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know about the specific region, but there are a lot of good data science companies out there. In particularly maybe in Chennai, they have a lot of Pfizer and all this uh, TCS Research Lab. All these places they do Samsung R&D. They have a lot of good data science companies. Bridge I2I. A lot of data science companies are there. I think the question makes a little sense for me. Okay, maybe we can move.
And just to add to this, I think there are let's say things like Zoho, Mr. Sridhar Vembu have started. So whoever asking the question, if they feel I'll encourage them to actually go start something where you feel that there is not something.
Absolutely.
That is yeah.
This is a very good suggestion. I love it. I love it. Yeah. Thank you, Sourav, for bringing it up.
Yeah.
This is very important. If you want to start it. What steps should I take to advance my career? I think.
Yeah.
I think we answered that.
Let's move ahead here.
What type of work can I expect in a career in statistics? I think we have answered like what different kind of career opportunities are there in statistics, right? Government, private, and research level academia.
Yeah.
Then Shorta, we can move on.
Yeah, let's move ahead here.
How can I prepare for interviews, whether on campus or off campus, for internships and jobs? How can I create a resume that increases my chances for selection of off campus opportunities? I think Sourav has done a lot of sessions on this. He should be a person who should be answering this. Right?
I think there's some background noise coming in.
I think
okay. Yeah. So I think obviously on campus is a bit easier. There are some structures, so you can talk to the seniors who have gone through the last years. You can attend the pre-placement talks. That is a bit standardized. Off campus is a bit more tough. There is no standardized process. Sometimes it might take weeks or months even. So, but you have to keep applying, and you have to have patience. So let's say you apply to 10 places, you don't hear back. Don't just lose hope. Apply 10 more, create a process. Now, resume, there's a distinction between resume in, let's say, a CV in academia versus a resume in industry. The main thing you have to keep in mind is it's not a list of all your achievements. You have to summarize everything in a very gist, like 1 or 2 pages. For early career professionals, I would recommend 1 page. And just highlight some of the key pointers. And always, everything you're writing, you should be able to defend that. So that's a key thing. There are obviously many things we have shared, Tanujit, me, Srijit. You can go check them. But in brief, just remember that the recruiter or someone who is going through a resume, they'll just look at it, glance at it for 10-15 seconds before passing on to the next one. So don't clutter it. Make it very attractive, make it very pointy, and don't put generic stuff. Try to always put some solid, let's say, little bit unconventional things. So that's the session.
Great. I think Sourav has done quite a few sessions on this. He can give that link.
Sure, we'll share later. Yeah.
It's a detailed discussion. I have also done a same thing with Bonali Banerjee. So a few days back.
We can share the links later after the session. Yeah.
What are the basic requirements of recruiters for job or paid internships? how should I apply for off-campus job or interviews?
Yeah, I think we have covered it mostly, but obviously, like, don't reject yourself. If you feel that some requirements you don't satisfy, go for maybe some unknown companies, go for a little bit lower level, try doing some projects on your own. Off campus, beyond the standard websites that are there, Naukri, Indeed, Monster, Tanjob, etc. There are also new sites like CutShort and other sites in India, and obviously you can just Google the names. But LinkedIn is very powerful. You can also approach some of the people, write very short, to the point messages. What do you want? And I think that's LinkedIn is a good source.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next question. How should I build my CV as a student without any professional experience, project, or internship? But that is only needed in CV.
Mainly, like, then what do you have in your CV other than your academics, like your bachelor's or master's, right? So without that, I think building CV is very difficult. A CV consists of your skill set, right? Particularly, I know R, I know Python. But if I know it, what did I employ it? What did I deploy it, right? So am I doing some projects in which I have used those knowledges? Do I work with some research internship or industry internship? Without that, building a CV is really difficult. So it's needed, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes, CV is a projection of the person. You should build yourself first and before building your CV. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we have talked
That's
about
a very good point.
Yeah. Maybe.
how is statistics used in various industries. I think Tanujit
We talked about it, right?
Yeah.
We talked about it. Yeah. So maybe one just example. Okay. So maybe example works sometimes well. So maybe nowadays I was working with PharmaS, which is a company which wants to build a pharma pro software, which will help them to forecast pharmaceutical sales. Just like an example would be, suppose you are a kind of a forecaster for a government. Let's say you are working for Singapore government. Just now I came back from Singapore to project their future tourists, how many tourists will come in Singapore. Based on that, they will kind of deploy their resources, right? Government will put a lot of new stuff for the future tourists, right? So if you forecasted back in 2019, so in 2019 up to 2019 data till 2000 to 2019, you should have forecasted very similarly as it was happening at the past was behaving. But in future, in 2020, all on a sudden COVID came and there is a structural break and everything changed. So really catching those black swans is very difficult. So in even any industries, when you are working, maybe your prediction models may be wrong many a times. That's why Box said, right, all models are not, but some are useful. So things may go wrong, but still you will plan. Maybe some plans that went really well could be an example. Right now, the inflation, people predicted inflation so well. The weather forecasting model where statisticians are working, you may not know a lot of industries where statisticians working. Maybe one example is the geophysics. So a lot of ISRO in DRDO, they have a lot of statisticians. In agriculture statistics has a lot of jobs. In demography, many statisticians they're working. In healthcare, I went to Duke University Medical School and you will be surprised there is a biostatistics PhD program under Duke University Medical School itself. So they need a lot of statisticians. Even after my talk out there, one person approached me who is a neurologist, and she came to me from Singh Health Corporation and asked me that we have a lot of data, we are unable to handle it. Can you help us to analyze those statistical data sets using statistics? So this is how every sector, I think there is nowadays, at least there is no sector which is not using statistics or ML or basics of data science at least. So everyone is using it. Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's move ahead.
Yeah, move on to the next question.
Mhm.
Should I pursue internship? If yes, where and how should I look for internships?
I think this is done.
Covered. Yeah.
You should try.
Where we should look for internships? Upwork and all, like LinkedIn and I think sorry,
I think Srijit, Sourav has already mentioned a lot.
Yeah, I think true. How can I study statistics
This
to
is also
prepare?
done.
Yeah.
This is also
I think
done.
pursue a BSc degree, I think, or a master's degree if you want to. Yeah. Are there other industrial professions in statistics besides machine
And
learning? And
Tunita covered a lot of
Just now I
examples.
told you.
So yeah,
yes.
Biostatisticians, there are environmental statisticians, there is
Ecologists.
epidemiologist,
Right.
and like every sector has their own
Yes.
statistician.
Yeah, I think we have discussed this.
All-
How can I
already.
secure an internship in the field of statistics? Okay, now the generic questions for the bachelor's people. Should someone choose ISI instead of IIT?
Maybe I'd give one reason. Maybe there are hundreds of reasons which it can put out here. So
Yeah.
one reason is ISI started their master's program. It was the first master's program in Asia. So maybe because it's the oldest and it follows the curriculum, it follows the very best curriculum around the world. That's one of the reasons. Okay, which is having bestest faculties and students out there. But IITs are also very good options. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the choosing any college, like comparing to colleges, depends on like at like top level. Okay, these are two top level colleges. Comparison only like is not in the teaching or the opportunities out there or the networking out there. Is comparison only happens in which course you will enjoy. Okay. If the same question goes, why will you choose IIT Kanpur versus IIT Bombay? Those are different two curriculums out there. So if you're comparing the top level colleges, I think you should focus on the the curriculum out there, and if there are people whose work you're interested in. These are the two metrics. I think if you're comparing at the top level, these are the two things you should check. For example, ISI has a lot of opportunities for applied subjects in the master's final last year. So like finance, biostat, all these things, actuarial science, and all these things. I'm not really sure if IIT has that, but IIT has its own strengths out there. Okay, so please check the curriculum out there, how it works, talk to the seniors, and then decide. So don't there's no comparison at this level. I think. Anything you want to add? Anyone else? Sure of that.
Yeah, so 2 points. I think after a certain point of time, these brand names doesn't matter a lot. When you're in BSc, you think all the things with this versus that. That is one. Another thing, there are you have to understand which one is more suited for you. For example, I have seen people who had gone to a IIT, gone to a ISI, they could not handle the pressure, or it was not appropriate for them, and they had to leave after wasting 1 or 2 years. So those kind of aspects are also there, first of all. And secondly, let's say even when you're going, sometimes there are aspects like, let's say the location, probably it's very close to your hometown. Probably your friends are also going there, which will get a more, let's say, family environment. So those kinds of aspects are also there. And some peculiarities are there. For example, one thing I didn't understand before going into IIT is the alumni who have built billion-dollar startups. They are coming, giving talks. Similarly, in ISI, many, maybe a Nobel Prize laureate is coming and giving a talk. So those kind of aspects are also there beyond just the rankings and the curriculums. So just go a bit deeper. Don't just go by the rankings. And as Tanujit mentioned, institute like ISI, it's like it's a foundation of statistics in India. So you'll just going there, sitting at the library, sitting at the different, talking to the professors. That's just a dream come true. So yeah, just enjoy, just study, and make something out of yourself. Finally, one more thing I'll add. Chetan Bhagat, he has an interesting long video series on YouTube. So in his I Am Ahmedabad interview, the people asked that why should we choose you over the 1,000 other people that are there? So he answered that, yeah, I know that I Am Ahmedabad is very reputed, but sometimes it might also happen that 10 years, 15 years down the line, my brand name might be like that. People might say he has produced alumni like me. So have some confidence in yourself. Like wherever you go, even if it's not the most reputed institute, even if it's just some tier 2, tier 3, this thing doesn't matter at all. You have to prove your own worth. So think of it like that. You should make your, like, be the most shining star from your institute. Why not?
Great, superb answer. Let's move on to the next question. What are the other fields in statistics except data science, preferably that are going to be demanding in the
I think
future?
mostly it's covered by Tanujit, so let's move
So
on.
one thing maybe
Sure.
Srijit is working in a very nice area, right? So
Yeah,
bioinformatics
that's a
is
very
one of
good
the
point.
very interesting area. Mostly biological and medical applications of statistics is very demanding. Nowadays, mobile health is one of the area, I think, in which there are a lot of opportunities because everyone is using mobile. So mobile health has a lot of applications of clinical trials and epidemiology and biostatistics. So this is one of the area. Another area is finance area. Finance, statistical finance is one of the booming area, I think. In future, another is quantum statistics. In future, we will have a lot of opportunities, in my sense. Okay, quantum
I'm
computing.
excited to hear about this quantum studies. I never heard of it before. I should,
Mhm.
after this meet, this is my first work. I should go and check out what is quantum statistics.
So
Yeah.
quantum computing, there are a lot of applications of machine learning and statistics is happening. Very few people are working. Even I could see one of my junior from ISI is doing PhD in quantum ML, the theoretical quantum statistics, I should say, not ML really. So he is working on quantum linear regression and all these things. Just finished his PhD from Paris, I think. So it's a new area. Okay, so and another is cyber security and cryptography and cyber security. Cyber security, we need a lot of cyber attacks are happening, and there is a lot of particular applications of statistics. In general, some discrete statistical tools have been applied
Yeah.
there. Other
Even
than health, also these are the few areas
yeah,
to really use. Even as astrostatistics is booming in some sense. After the image of the black hole came, some people are more inclined towards astrostatistics. Okay, so
Yes.
these are the other areas. Yeah.
even in
As-
agriculture or other arts fields
Yeah,
like
of
psychology and
course,
lots
agriculture
of
statistics.
applications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, psychology is another area. Yeah, mental health nowadays, to help people with mental health, you need statistical pulse data analysis, and maybe you can do something for them. Okay.
Yeah, you name something, I will, we will find statistics in there. That's how statistics
Yes,
calculates.
yes.
Don't. Uh,
So, which are some good colleges for masters if I couldn't make out to IIT? I think Tonita was mentioning really good set of colleges out there based on placement, and I think he should be
Yes.
at least one out there
Yeah,
here.
I'll just give some name. You all know about BHU, Delhi University, Pune University. Other than that, there are lot of IITs which has master's program in data science. In particular, IIT Bangalore has a master's program in data science, which is really good placement. Then in Gujarat, there are few universities, Ahmedabad University, Dhirubhai Ambani Institute of Information Technology. They have a master's in data science, which people should consider of doing. And maybe nowadays some university like Flame University, Plaksha University, they have some good master's program. Shivnagar University has a master's in applied mathematics, which is another good program in to be considered. And also, if you are someone who has some interest in going abroad, or otherwise you want to go abroad as well, so you can apply there as well. I have seen nowadays I'm meeting a lot of people. I went to NUS Singapore as a visiting faculty last month. So I really saw a lot of Indian students who did bachelors from a lot of Calcutta University, someone is from Jain University, someone is from some Bangalore-based universities. After their bachelors, they came for masters at NUS Singapore, and I was really happy to meet them out there. And so this is the not only ISI IIT people are looking for a foreign option. Even some of my students, they went for masters in stat or other data science domain in Canada. In particularly, there is a lot of research-based programs out there which doesn't require any fees. So people also look for outside options as well. Okay, so you can also look for those options outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be happy to answer if you have any specific question. Just write it to me. I'll give you more better list. Okay, so which is
Yeah,
recommended
yeah, yeah.
just.
I think you can make a good list on your
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
I'll post something. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Srijit, maybe we can move on to the MSc part, but most things are getting continued
Yeah, let's
similarly.
go through
Hmm.
the questions.
Hmm.
Should I work a year and they're going for a PhD or go for a PhD after masters? Tonita has already mentioned like you can do both. Working anything works, doesn't it's like
Hmm.
there.
If you are not sure, if you are not sure, go for a job and then go for something, or do a research internship, then go for it. Okay.
Yeah, maybe PhD is a bit more irreversible decision, so be very sure before going into PhD.
Yes. Or you can just take a drop here and
Yeah,
be
figure it
part of
out.
and
Yeah, absolutely.
How to be successful in my job?
So
Give you a
I
best.
think we don't have a recipe. We don't have any recipe for
yeah,
that.
we covered, but I think a big part is like the soft skill to understand how the full machine works, to understand how others, how to work with others. So that's the big part of it. But as Namrita mentioned, there is no secret sauce. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah. Is it possible to career in finance
already covered
without or
probably.
without?
I think
Yeah, I
already
think
covered finances, huh?
with and without both are possible, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So point
Yes.
is that end of the day, companies doesn't care a lot about your degrees, but obviously they just want you come from a quant type of background, like a physics, like a statistics, like a mathematics, even like a
Economics.
chemistry also, economics also. These are also valid. So it's as long as you have done some relevant projects, even internships, you can pursue. And even if you come from a totally unrelated background, you can do courses like CFA, like FRM, or even some of the online courses mentioned, and then you can continue. Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah, let's move to the next question. We are trying to move fast because we respect your time, and also uh, we can move for hours and hours.
Public
But
speaking.
also, it's like night in India. It's like going to be night in India. Uh, how should I improve my public speaking skills as a student with an? This is a very good question. With an unconventional educational background, um, I think Tanujit and Sourav can answer this fast, and then I will share my 2 cents on it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think public speaking, of course, when you start sharing yourself in public, although through post or even in talking to strangers, it feels awkward. But build a practice, make a point of, let's say, something is asked in the class, interact with the professors, take these baby steps. You can't make it overnight. Take these baby steps. I think Ayali was asking, yeah, absolutely. We'll be recording the session and we'll be sharing the link. So absolutely, we'll share it with you. But yeah, that's the point. You take baby steps. Start with, let's say, introducing yourself to more uncomfortable situations. Educational background doesn't matter a lot. End of the day, your confidence, your effort matters a lot. And even if you are an introvert, you can start developing these skills or work on it in a very consistent manner. There are some, let's say, things like Dale Carnegie, people like Dale Carnegie, they have some books on this. They might be useful. And yeah, just go talk to people, talk to strangers. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Dale Carnegie's book is absolutely one of the best book, and he has given all the, everything out there. Okay. Yes. Let's move on to the next question. I have personally learned a bit from another book. I forgot the name, so probably I will move on to the next question. What is the difference between statistical learning and machine learning?
I think these are some generic questions. Should we just?
Yeah, I think there is a good post out there. Just search statistical learning as machine learning. I think no, what is the name of that professor who has a paper on that? Tanujit?
Leo Breman. Breman
Yeah,
has a
who
paper.
developed the random forest? Yeah, he has a great PDF, research paper on that. You just read it.
I'll give a link out here. Okay.
How to do statistical projects on my own? I think we have discussed it.
Yeah, let's move it. Yeah.
Take a Kaggle data set and work on it. What are the best companies for statisticians?
I think we've covered mostly.
Yeah. What are the best colleges for MSc in statistics? I think we have
Also covered. Yeah.
How can I build my career through a PhD in statistics? Do a PhD, get a job as a professor, or do industry? Like, I mean, I'm not sure what it really mean. What is really asked in this question? But what if it's what about to do after PhD? So with the as in live example, like you can become a professor, and also you can.
So you can also do a lot of other stuffs. You can also join. I have seen people joining ISS after that. I have seen people joining WHO, WTO, Institute of Health, many other sectors as well as a lot of people are working on private industries, even in top industries, and they're working doing research. Google DeepMind and Facebook Meta, people are doing research. Even people like working in Walmart and other companies, they're also doing a lot of stuff after PhD. Okay? So there are a lot of other opportunities as well.
Yes, government, industry, research, whatever you want to do, entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Hmm.
What is the payment structure after completing BSc, MSc, PhD? One thing I will say that if you do, I have done a survey on like I was giving a talk at DU, so I have to do some stat. So from BSc to MSc, you get twice the pay. From MSc to PhD, I really don't know what's the pay difference. I am not sure about that. Tanujit, can you say a few words or?
Really depends on the place you are joining, right? So faculty salaries differ a lot, may not be too different from the salary of after masters what you get in industries. So, and after PhD, maybe the industry salaries may not differ much from masters, depending on your position, depending on the industry, whether they really value the PhD experience. So we cannot really comment on the exact
Yeah.
salary structure in that sense.
I think as
We can
Tanujit
just
mentioned earlier, you should not pursue a PhD for payment. It's
payment.
like a research is a passion thing. So that's the only point I want to add. Yeah, let's probably
Yes.
move ahead.
True. What are the best courses to learn for statistics, jobs, and future prospects? We have discussed that.
And yeah, let's move ahead.
How to prepare for MSc entrance exam in ISI Kolkata? We have written in Chinta a detailed explanation of that. I will add that link. I have already added the link to the resource thing. I think you can. And this is a long thing. Like this is a very long discussion things.
Yeah.
Okay, MSc learning comes up. Do you?
I
do
think
we
this is already covered. Yeah, let's move ahead.
Okay. So what are the top companies hiring statisticians as freshers? Okay. How can I increase my chances getting hired by a good company as a fresher statistician?
I think
We
covered
are
mostly.
What skills should I focus on building as a fresher to secure a job sooner in the fields of statistics?
Similar.
What is the best way to learn and gain a better understanding of machine learning to stand out from others?
So I think this one we can discuss
Yeah.
a little bit only. So
Yeah.
maybe, so mostly machine learning people do it on a different way. Mostly people just go to scikit-learn, import sklearn, and then run a few lines of codes and run it on the data. People forget about doing the stuff that Srijit was telling, right? You have to learn it through the hard way. You know the mathematical foundation, not all the proofs, but at least the very basic algorithmic structure and knowing the pseudocode. This is a better way to do it actually. And writing code from the scratch is one way that I teach in my courses. When I do my machine learning course, I put complete sessions on writing every code, every neural network or every other code. Write it from scratch. Don't just import some library and do it. That will make you a user, not a developer of new machine learning algorithms. Okay.
Absolutely.
Just to add on standing out from others. So when we sort through resumes, like let's say there's a job post, there are hundreds of resumes. What stands out is sometimes most people what they do is they just copy from standard projects in GitHub and some seniors. But let's say there's an algorithm, digital recognition algorithm. Most people will copy the algorithm from, let's say, Coursera. Even the data set will be similar. But some people will take time out. Maybe they will do some project on their own vernacular language. Maybe something that is unique to them. They will try to use that knowledge. They will try to connect with their experience. So that is how you stand out. You actually create some originality. Even if your aspiration doesn't succeed, the model is not it's not a great model. But that aspect, you're thinking something on your own. You're trying to build in an independent manner. That is how you stand out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Like becoming the best in trying to become the best in the field, whatever you're doing. Okay. Next question. What are the recommended resources for learning ML, DL, and NLP? Books.
The many links are shared, but Tanujit, anything else? Tanujit already had shared a lot of.
Yeah, I think
I'm sharing a few.
Yeah, books.
Let's move ahead. Yeah.
Tanujit, can you please upload it in the resources file folder?
Yeah. I'll do.
Yeah. We'll and even after the call, we can just share. Take our time and build a very comprehensive list and then share. That is fine. You can just go ahead now.
Can I learn statistics from scratch on my own, considering having a background in mathematics?
I think covered probably.
Yeah, it's absolutely possible. But I think I should ask why you are doing it. If you're asking why you're doing it, you will probably see that better getting a degree in statistics is better than just learning it yourself. If you're doing for some project thing for a job or a job, of course you're not doing research in statistics. If you're doing it for job, then talking to your seniors how much statistics is needed and reading books and applying it is important, or getting a small course out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which technical skills should I process? I think we have discussed this.
Yeah.
Is there a specific course I should consider?
I think
beforehand?
small addition is there are some best practices like Git version control, and then there'll be Docker, like containerization, making something independent of the dependencies. Those ideas you can search about, like what are the best practices that are used in industry. That could be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next question. How can I improve my project experience to increase my chance of getting a job in data science or research position in a reputable institute? I think we have discussed this.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably.
do an internship or go to for a project with under a professor. What are the basic and advanced skills that a succession should learn for machine learning?
Also, like mostly
Yeah, I
covered.
think there is not much.
There are a lot of overlap between questions. So let's
Yeah,
move
I mean,
ahead.
you should learn that book of ESLR and ISLR. Like that's,
Yeah.
and there's probably like probabilistic machine learning, Murphy. So these two are great. Are there free offline or online courses available for machine learning and data
Also
science?
covered by Tanujit and the links they have shared. Yeah.
Like, yeah, online courses, right? On Coursera and edX.
Yeah.
What's the best way to learn data science machine learning if my major was in statistics?
You can continue.
Yeah, just learn from books, guys. Just learn from books. And all of you know this obvious answer. What are the minimum skills required to land a job in data science field? I think we have
practical experience. Yeah, that's it.
practical experience. And how can I perform data analysis on raw data and interpret using relevant tools?
Same,
So
I think.
that depends on the curriculum you are doing. Along with that, whatever models you are learning, suppose you are learning a linear regression model, take a data, brothers data or some other data, some disease data or some prediction data, just take it from Kaggle or some other places, Kaggle data competition on simple regression problems. So just take one simple linear regression tool that you learned, do it out there, try to see what are the assumptions you made in the linear regression model, if those are satisfied or not, how to make them satisfied, or how to improve the model for your particular task. So this is how, by doing it, we learn it. Okay, and then the theoretical interpretation that you learn, just try to validate with the data that you are using it. Okay, then make comparisons, build more models, and learn more. Okay,
Absolutely.
Okay, next question. What relevant resources recommended we will
Already
share?
done.
we already did.
What learning strategies or techniques have been found most effective for acquiring new skills and knowledge in the field of statistics and machine learning, and how can I ensure continuous growth and development in my career?
Keep refreshing the knowledge. There are always new things coming up in your career. So keep building your curiosity. Keep it there. Start learning about things and connect the concepts from different fields. That could be a good way to develop in your career.
Yeah, I mean, talk to seniors. I think talk to people out there who are there in our, in the field that you're doing.
Yes, and as well as also you have to open your areas, like not only in that particular domain. Now after going to Singapore, I talked with a lot of people who are working really into medicine. They're into medical science. Some of them are real doctors. So you have to be open with your ideas and hear their problem and how they're solving it. Do you have any other ingredients with you that can solve their problems? Then they will be interested to jointly work with you. So not only machine learning and data science, but also you have to open yourself to other domains as well.
Very important
Where
point.
you can apply.
Yeah, I mean, one mindset that has helped me is that if you are planning to do a career in machine learning or statistics, like in general, have a problem-solving mindset. You have a problem, you have to solve it, and you will do whatever is needed to solve that problem. Learn domain knowledge, learn. Solve it, solve. That's it. I mean, asking too much questions and thinking about it will just waste your time. Just do it. Okay, now career questions for MSc students. Does data genuinely have a bright future? Not regular. What?
See, everything is moving online. Everything is getting digitized. People are not happy with generic explanations anymore. They want data-backed answer. So I think the answer is obvious.
Yes, and do not think about the future right now. It's a lot ahead. You should do whatever is right now in your front. Like probably if you have a choose a goal, like small goal, and do it, and stop thinking about you have to adapt to any situation in the future, and that's the job that you will see. So let's not think a lot about it.
And things move in cycles. There will be some hype, it will come down again. There
Exactly.
will be some, so it will always be there. Don't just chase the new hot thing. Stick to your competence, whatever interests you most. You'll get good opportunities, no problem.
No better suggestion from a finance expert who always see money moving up and down.
So there is a very famous saying by Amos Varsky. So he said, "He who sees the past as surprise free is bound to have a future full of surprise." So, so he who sees the past as surprise free is bound to have a future full of surprise. So
Mm.
everything is data dependent, right? So past, present, and future both matters. Okay. So depending on the problem, which matters the most.
Absolutely.
Yes. And therefore, you have to learn time series very well to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
This is a good question. I think we have not answered this question at all. This is something I think all of
So
us should.
Saurabh can answer.
Yeah, I
Saurabh can
think,
give
see,
a
the
start.
point is that coming to entrepreneurship is just problem solving at the ground level. So sometimes we start thinking about billion-dollar startups, all these things, so like Shark Tank comes up. But if you look at the ground level, whatever you are doing, so I come from a village. When I see, let's say, agriculture, there are a lot of stuff that could be actually, so information, it's not that information is not there, but it's not reaching the ground level. So this kind of information pipeline we create, let's say anything we want to implement in a large scale manner, that has to be done through systems and processes based on data, based on building these systems. So data is definitely, let's say you as a finance minister, or you as a, let's say, DM of some organizer of some area, how do you take a decision? You'll take it based on data. So go look at some large scale problems that could be solved, and how can data help, how can decision making helps, how can structured learning help. So that is the mindset you have to start with, and not just key. So if you have a hammer, everything might seem like a nail. Don't have that attitude. Have a problem solving attitude. Don't solve a problem that isn't there just for chasing some billion-dollar opportunity. Try to actually look at the ground reality, where there is actually a problem. Sometimes even simple tools can actually have a very big impact. So that kind of aspect has to be there when you are trying to pursue entrepreneurship. But probably Srijit might be the best person to answer, because he has already started in this journey.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I personally have done a lot of research on because it's very, very close to my heart, being an entrepreneur, and I love it. I love the journey, and this is what I have researched in, and this is what my thoughts are. Number one, learning and data science. Number one, you should be there are two opportunities mostly. One is a statistical consultancy thing. You can do your personal consultancy, but there are a lot of companies coming up, like they do specific statistical consultancy, like in marketing consultancy. Okay, database marketing consultancy. Like there is something called Arima. Yeah, I mean that is done by Venkat and another person. There are like you create database consultancy opportunities. Okay, that is one. Mu Sigma, Fractal Analytics, all these are consultancy companies. Okay, that are based on data science. So that is something consultancy based thing, focused consultancy based thing. There is something that is coming up recently, and you can build your own solopreneurship, which you can do yourself, just do consultancy, which is nothing but like a freelancing, or you can build a company of team of people to do that, solve that problem. Another thing is being a content creator and launching courses, exactly the path Krish Nayak has taken. If you know Krish Nayak, he has done a lot of content creation, and then he has now built iNeuron. He and another person, now iNeuron has been taken over by Physics Wala. Do you know that, Shorabda? And
Yeah,
Tanujit?
I used to follow his journey because he was connected with me on LinkedIn, but I didn't know that they got acquired by Fusel. That's a new information.
Yeah. So then So this is another path of content creation and teaching that you can do, and this is a very thriving micro businesses in India. If you see all the tuition people out there, they are doing honors coaching and all these things out there. Okay, so this teaching thing is a very micro business out there that you can also look at an entrepreneurship opportunity, and Chinta being one of them. But consultancy and teaching, these are the two, or while with content creation, these are the two opportunities I can as of see now, like course creation and consultancy. Anything else I have missed?
Yeah, I think
Sure.
let's move ahead. I think that.
Yeah.
Quite,
What are the type of projects one can pursue for a research career? We have already answered that.
yeah.
Can you provide suggestions for a research career combining statistics, finance, and economics? Saurabh?
Yeah, I think we covered most of the points, but the basic thing is that you have to have some practical, you have to start, like after learning the theories, sometimes you find something, let's say efficient market hypothesis. But when you go and read the practitioners like a Warren Buffett, you'll often find that Nobel Prize winning theories didn't actually apply that much in the real world. So how do real world people actually do when the assumptions are not met? How they actually go ahead? So those kind of things have to be kept in mind. Like think from a real perspective, go learn from the practitioners, from their talks on YouTube, from their books. So that's the suggestion.
Yes,
And now currently I'm guiding one PhD student who is a PhD in economics. Okay, so he's working on inflation, understanding inflation forecasting, modeling, exchange rate, and all these stuffs. So everything is combined nowadays. You can understanding inflation. You need the knowledge of not only how the market moves or how central banking policymakers thinks, but also from the statistician's point of view, how to model those data that we are having at hand to help the public policymakers. So these are some combination ways
Absolutely.
out there.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next question. How can I develop a new research interest at the intersection of physics, data science, and statistics? I think Tanujit can talk something about physics-inspired neural network.
Yeah, physics informed neural network is an idea that came very recently into 2019, where you combine the knowledge of physical laws or different behavior of mathematical equations of some natural phenomenon. Just like, let's say, consider the linear type of system or different type of ordinary and partial differential equations which represent some of the natural phenomena. So maybe modeling those type of data coming from those sections, you can combine the knowledge of those physical knowledge with the data knowledge or learning algorithm knowledge that comes from maybe statistics or machine learning algorithms. That's what got them inspired, make them inspired to create something called physics information learning. So this is a very hot area nowadays. So you can finally start working and searching more about physics information learning, and maybe you will have paper by end of next year on this, maybe. Okay, all the best.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next question. Please guide me on how to make a career in sports analytics, as I'm more interested in this domain than others. I think this is a very good question which I have not answered. I think Saurabh, Tanujit, if you have any experience, then I will share my experience with Srinivas Bhogle, brother of Harsh Bhogle.
Maybe Srijit, you can share that first. Okay, you can go ahead.
So I was a person who only went to do projects in statistics because of cricket, because I thought I will be a cricketer, which I didn't become. So and I went to Bimal Kumar Roy. You all know about Bimal Kumar Roy in ISI, and I told, sir, I want to do project. I want to apply statistics in cricket, and he connected me to Srinivas Bhogle. He is the brother of Harsh Bhogle. If you know Harsh Bhogle, he is a famous commentator in cricket, Indian cricket, international cricket. And we did a very good project out there, research project, and in my BSc project thing. For making a career in sports analytics, I will say talk to so also Karan Dikar. He also worked with Karan Dikar at CMI. So Srinivas, I think not Srinivas, but Karan Dikar, I forgot the initial name. Karan Dikar at CMI, he also works on sports analytics. I know I have talked to I think there are a few people in IIM who are also working in sports analytics, statistical measures in sports analytics. You should get in touch with those professors out there. So talk to professor. My suggestion will be, if you want to create a research kind of, they're also, in Virginia Tech there is a only course, a PhD course, you can apply for PhD in sports analytics only. So also there is sports analytics only. It's also related to kinesiology or something like that, which is also related to sports. So there are a lot of opportunities out there in terms of research, and as well as in the industry, like Dream 11. ISI has Dream 11 coming, and all these people like Fantasy League. So both opportunities are there. You have to just find the right persons for research. You have to go to the professors out there who are working on sports analytics. The best way is to find the papers and trace back to the professors. Okay. Read papers and trace back to the professors. And for industry, you should do internships in the sports analytics companies out there, which are there, or sports related companies like Dream 11, My Circle 11, and all these things. Okay. So anything you want to add, Sourav and Tanujit?
Just to add to that, start a little bit about start learning about the field and how to get a job, because it's a bit more niche fields. There might be some standardized channels, as Srijit also mentioned. So let's say in a sports analytics, there will be some on-field and off-field topics. For example, on-field will be, you want to actually improve the player's performance by analyzing themselves, their food habits, their nutrition, their games, as well as the opponents. Movies like Moneyball, what they have shown. But there is also an off-field thing where you try to optimize the merchandise, the ticket sales, the brand. So both of the aspects are there. So try to read a little bit more about the aspects and how do you actually build a career. There are some, sometimes some specialized courses. So point is that try to actually go into the niche, talk to some people who are actually in that area. Because it's a niche area, sometimes just by connecting with some people, you might get an opportunity. But some other time, there might be some courses which might be relevant for you. So dig a bit deeper.
And one example could be in sports analytics, the method of Duckworth, Lewis, and Stern, okay, which is used in our T20 games and all this. So if you are also working there, maybe you can be next ESPN sports analyst, just like
some motivation.
Come up with some new rules. Okay,
yeah.
So that's another motivation.
I have sorry for just getting off bit for 1 minute. I have an intuition and a perception that in the future, every single sports person will have a personal data analyst, and if that happens, that will be a really great opportunity. Like, imagine you being a personal data analyst to Virat Kohli. I would have taken that opportunity out there. Like, you have to analyze his way, because you don't want to share that information with someone else, right? So probably that can be a good opportunity. And I'm sure a lot of there's one person who has worked with the Chennai Super Kings. I was seeing on LinkedIn only to find out the optimal team for Chennai Super Kings. Okay, I was seeing him on LinkedIn. He has posted it. So their auction, game theory and auction, and all the statistics coming up together also. So a lot of opportunities out there. I am surely, like, where there is money, there is opportunity, and there is a lot of money in India in cricket. So huge opportunity out there, booming market coming up.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's move it. If Tanujit, you have anything to add?
What are career opportunities and approaches in statistics?
I think
we have
it's
answered
covered.
that. After completing masters in
Job
statistics, what
posts.
job posts and I can
Covered.
apply?
Covered.
Yeah. How can I pursue a career as data scientist? Covered.
Covered. Yeah, a lot of questions are similar.
What are the opportunities for getting a job in the software industry with a statistics background? Yeah, one thing I want to add, because my batchmate Shubhroti Roy, he was the first, he was the first gold medalist of BStat, MStat, both of my batchmate, and he is actually working as a software engineer as well as data analyst, because he has developed he's actually a data engineer and data analyst together at Cisco Labs. Okay, so you have to learn data engineering to apply your statistics and data science knowledge. Okay, that's the only way. Like, data engineering thing we have already talked about, so hence this is already discussed.
Also, data structure, algorithm, those things are very important.
Yes. Anything you want to add? No. Okay.
Let's move.
How can I secure a job in the field of statistics?
Go
Very
ahead.
generic question.
Yeah, I think we have covered that.
What are the career opportunities available for individuals with knowledge of statistics?
Also, probably covered.
Yeah, we have discussed in details. Are the job and internship opportunities available for mathematics students in companies or government departments? Mathematics students? This is for companies, yes. For example, we'll just share one thing.
Tanujit probably is a good person to.
Maybe with not only with mathematics, if you have some skill with operation research, or let's say some data science applied courses you attended during your master's degree, in mathematics, a lot of people in IITs, they prefer to learn OR. Then you have opportunities in supply chain analytics and all these other OR based companies,
Yes.
Optim and other companies. Whereas if you want to work in government sectors, maybe if you do little bit of 1-2 courses on data science, then you can also apply and as a data scientist roles, okay, as well in both government and private sectors.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is.
I think. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, sorry, you could finish.
Yeah, I mean, I will say two things. One was in ISI, one person has done BMath and then he has done MMath at ISI, and he got into finance role into Goldman Sachs, okay, with MStat people. So I think in the finance industry, they are really looking for problem solving abilities, not like direct statistical or too much of mathematical knowledge. So. Yeah, I mean, this is one such one thing I want to say. And the thing is that I want to make sure like whether operational research can be used in DRDO and all this defense, defense. I think Tanujit can talk about it. Is it? I think it's there, right?
So maybe the next question talks about it actually. So
Okay,
in
okay.
government sectors, there are a few internships in Niti Aayog, in a lot of in social welfare societies, a lot of government sectors where there are economic and statistics department, in different bureaus, and also in the particular DRDO, ISRO, our uh, weather forecasting department of government of
Mm.
India. They have a lot of opportunities, and so even a lot of small banks, LIC, they have a lot of internships.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
SBI particularly, they had a lot of data analysts. So State Bank of India, so like that. Of course, there are a lot of
A big world out there. Yeah, go and
yes,
explore.
yes,
Yeah, yeah. I think absolutely. Like I know another person from MMath who is now a manager at SBI. So you're absolutely right.
yes.
Yes.
Maybe the 15th question is already covered, so we can go to the last
Yeah.
segment of MSc Generic.
Yes. This is a generic question out there. What they can one choose corporate after doing research?
Of course, nowadays many people are moving to corporates. Maybe one part is because after PhD or after masters, because they found they are getting paid more. Maybe one of the main reasons. Another is there are a lot of now good research opportunities even in corporates as well. So as I named DeepMind, all this Meta, and
Google Brain.
a lot of
Yeah.
big companies here,
Mm.
they are publishing really nice works, and it's incredible. So they are doing parallel research as even big top universities around the world are doing. So of course there are.
There, one thing I should say, you can just see the trend that how people are joining corporate after research by looking over to LinkedIn. There are several consultants out there who are training PhD students how to get into corporate. Okay, I get lots of content out there, and so it's a really booming field. I mean, you can of course do that. Okay, what are the entrepreneurial scope in of the field? I think we have already discussed that. It's fine to pursue it post. I really didn't
Post
understand.
PhD independently, so it's like a continuous mass, I think, a continuous thing.
Yeah.
So you can be an entrepreneur after PhD. Okay, you can open your own startup, you can be a consultant who is offering some of the products, building some of the stuffs, and then you can do it post PhD, you can do before PhD. It depends on like your career aspect. So suppose you want to be someone who will be helping in agriculture of people, improve their life. I have seen one person from ISI who was topper around 1980s. Then he went to US and learned about agricultural business, and then he from MIT he pursued some MBA, and then he become completely farmer in US, like a different sort of farmers who is involving technology into agriculture. So there are a lot of ways to become an entrepreneur and use it even after your PhD as well. Okay.
Yeah, I think his company is a multi-million dollars evaluation right
Yeah,
now,
we were
right?
discussing
Yes.
that day, yeah. Another thing to add here is, see, even in India, there's an ocean of opportunity. Lot of things to fix, lot of energy, lot of people, lot of employment, youth is there. So if you want to solve a problem, nothing like it. You'll get funding, no problem. Start thinking about the problem. Start thinking, how do you solve the problem? Statistics and these things are just tools, but there's a lot of opportunity. And if you have done PhD in some topic, you have very deep understanding of that topic. It definitely helps. So there's a lot of options. Yeah.
Yes. When a finance guy say there's a lot of funding available, that means there is really funding available. So, so
India ka growth story is very long. So,
yes. Okay, we have done this. How long does it take a professional course? Is it a
different
diploma
options
course?
are available. Tanujit has already shared all those links and we'll be
So
sharing after that.
you can do 3 months, 6
Huh.
months, 12 months, depending on where you lie yourself, like
Yeah.
where you are lying. So based on that, where you are, so in part of the in your career where currently you are, what are the knowledges you have? Based on that, you can design
Yeah.
whether should I go for a 2 years program or a short-term program.
Same question. Maybe let's go ahead.
How can I continue to grow my knowledge in data science? Is it helpful for getting a
Done.
job? Absolutely. You
Yeah.
cannot get a job without knowledge. How can I improve my communication skills in English? Any tips?
So this is one thing. Like my English is more like a Bengali English. Okay, so this is what I always hear from some of my like colleagues in shop and other places. So just like French people, they have their English is French English thing. Our English is not really like US English. Maybe Srijit is right now catching some of the American English or British English. Okay, so so to improve it, one thing of what I did, watch or listen a lot of talks of people who are speaking in English. Let's say you are watching some linear algebra talks by Gilbert Stubb, and watch some English movies or educational content as well, which is in which some foreign people who are American or UK or other people who speaks really good English. If you hear them regularly, your English will be improved. And then talk. Okay, start talking, start writing more. Okay, then that will enhance your skill.
One quick thing to add to this, absolutely, Tanujit, is that communication skill is not about the particular words you're using. How verbose are you? Are you like Srijit, or you know all these words? But it's about what you are communicating. Are you able to communicate that? So have that in mind. Even if you are using a wrong grammar, wrong word, doesn't matter. Just put your point across. That's a suggestion.
If you watch the film Padman, you will understand what Akshay Kumar did.
Great example.
Yeah, that's a great example, right? But yeah, I mean, one personal suggestion is that if you want to learn English, English is being created by British. So my suggestion will be going for British English. If you really want to be best, okay? So if it's just work for working, I think you just move it to the standard you want it to and it works, okay? That's my suggestion.
So can we move to the 10th question? 8, 9 is done already.
Okay. Are there any good YouTube channels for learning statistics?
So I already posted a list of YouTube videos, YouTube channels that I personally followed on LinkedIn. So if you want, I'll put that image out here in the top file, so you'll see. Okay.
Yeah, we will share. And so another want to share is there's a stat quiz by Josh Starmer. That's one of my favorite. So
story is favorite too.
Yeah. So let's move it.
Okay. I did not know this.
I think this Google it.
Yeah, okay.
So SPSS is mostly used by medical professionals earlier and other economics people and other people. So we really don't work on SPSS nowadays. So maybe
yeah, that's a good yeah.
Okay, how should I deal with mathematical statistics?
Maybe Srijit, go ahead.
Existential question.
I mean, I don't know what is the level you have acquired right now. I think mathematical statistics is really easy if you have a good grasp on probability. Okay, so get accustomed, like understand probability really well, and a good book for that are three books. I will say Blitzstein, Joe Blitzstein, Introduction to Probability. That is the best book, introductory level. Sheldon Ross and Rohadi Saleh, if you want an advanced level. Based on these three books, if your probability is really good, then start learning Kasselberger or any other statistical inference books. It's best. Then I mean, I think you should. Yeah, that's the best way to learn. A few books have been suggested on our Chintal website. I have shared the link. Learn for free. Anything else? That's the only thing I want to say. Like learn from books. And Tanujit can
Yes,
and
yes.
That's
Mathematical statistics is a bookish thing. You don't learn it by doing it. Just learn it by learning. Okay, so
yeah,
not only doing it
did it.
will help. Okay,
yeah.
okay. So
Okay, last three questions.
I
What is the
think
best way
this
to get a job in statistics?
this is
Work hard.
done.
we have done it.
Should I join a data science course for job purposes? Discussed.
It depends on you. That's what we
Depends, sorry.
discussed, right? When you see if you need a course, when you are not only like when you have a data, you are not able to understand what should I do. Then it's time to go for a course, okay? Which will help you to with a lot of examples, lot of demo, lot of sample data problems. You will handle a lot of projects you will be doing during the course. That will help you.
Absolutely.
Maybe the last question is the question that we answered many times by now. How to get an
After
internship?
inscription as a
Research
beginner,
internship.
yeah.
Yes, we
So
talked about it.
that's it. That's all. And congratulations, Sourav, Tanujit, and myself. Good job. I'm patting on my back. It's a really 2.5 hours answering this question is really
It was great
last
fun.
time I did
Uh,
was giving my INMO examination. But
So anyone else, if you
yes,
have any
now we'll
questions,
go ahead.
those who will be listening this, okay, particularly on will be when
There are
we'll
four
be
people
putting
left out
YouTube
here.
or others.
And thank you, guys.
Okay.
These four people. Thank you for your patience. Aheli, Ayan,
Even I'm
Dharma,
surprised. Yeah.
yes. So for being here, if you're still here and on live and not
Means a lot.
just like, yeah, thank you for being here till the end.
Thanks a lot.
Dinesh has
If you
asked-
have more questions, please feel free to message us or
Yes,
mail
yes, on
us
LinkedIn.
or contact
email.
us on LinkedIn. Okay, we'll
Absolutely.
be always available. Okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
if you're sending a lot of, I think we all of us get a lot of connections. We have to choose specifically. So if you send us a connection, please say, write a note that I since you asked me on that live, then on that video, I am connecting it with you. Okay, just like for reference. Okay.
Thanks, Ali.
Uh,
Thanks a lot for the kind words. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you all of you for being a part of it right now.
And once
Okay,
again,
Dinesh has asked this. Yeah.
yeah, please go ahead.
Dinesh had asked this now that, sir, you have mentioned master's degree in AI, ML, NLP offered in a university. Can you write the name of the university? I think Tanujit has already mentioned that.
Yeah.
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 So,
Thanks,
yeah, kudos to
and
Tanujit.
Tanujit, that's for initiating this.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
Srijit, you did a lot of good groundwork on organizing and all these things.
yeah,
Really,
otherwise it
thanks
would
a
have taken 5 hours.
lot. Yeah.
So,
Great,
Thank you
great.
so much. Thank you, everyone. I think it's time to say bye.
Wrap it
But
up.
those who will be listening this video, particularly on YouTube, if you come all along up to 2.5 hours, now if you have any more queries, please feel free to write to us. Feel free to contact us personally for any sort of doubts you have. Don't send your snapshot of your exercise book or exercises that you are doing, but any general help, any
But
general
we all
questions
keep doing these mistakes, so yeah, we can totally relate. When we
yeah.
start out, we have this, yeah. But yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, take care, guys.
Yeah, take care. And one final thing I want to say, the least underrated skill that people do not have right now, which is not, people do not have, that is learning and searching in Google and ChatGPT. Before any doubt, please search that and then come, and that will that's like doing research and coming. Okay, so it's really helpful.
Be your own light. Yeah, sorry.
Be your own light. Thank you.
Atmadipa Bhavo.
Thank you, Sunita, and thank you, Sourabh,
Yeah,
and thank you everyone
absolutely.
for joining.
all the
Thanks.
best.
Great
All the
time.
best.
All the
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, great. Bye.
Please save the recording and Srijit. Okay.
And Srijit, yeah,
Absolutely.
please stop.